Hey guys, so 174 weeks here on the homestead. 174 weeks ago I gave up everything, moved to Bulgaria and started my own homestead. So let's see what we've been up to this week. Hey then guys, so week 174, and this week it has been another scorching week, very hot. So I've been doing a lot of watering, keeping my trees alive, the ones that have survived. The swallows have well and truly, thanks Titan, the swallows have well and truly left home, so I will be cleaning out their nests soon, but I left it up just in case they wanted to come back to it. But they haven't been back for a whole week now, so it's time to remove the swallow's nest. It has been apple season this week, and short of making about 1,000 litres of cider, I don't have enough recipes or storage methods for apples, so I've got a hell of a lot of apples going straight to the compost heap, unfortunately. But they are also going to be used for chicken feed, and they do make fantastic compost, and you get lots of volunteer apple trees as well, so not that I need more apple trees, although I am growing more apple trees in my orchard that's currently growing. What else have I been up to this week? So yeah, I did start a new program on this channel, and just a heads up if you haven't seen it. So what I've done is another program on my conservative views about stuff that I hear on the BBC. Now when I'm working in the homestead, when I'm out and about doing stuff, I tend to have the radio on. If I'm doing a big task, I'll listen to audiobooks, but if I'm just doing a little job here and there, I tend to have the radio on, and I put it on in the morning. I always have some thoughts about what I hear here and there. So whenever one of those things crops up, what I'm going to do is make a little video about what I feel about it. Now I will differentiate that kind of content from this kind of content using the thumbnails, so that on this channel you can see the difference between the types of programs. So the conservative stuff will always have this kind of thumbnail, and obviously in there you'll have the title and a brief description of what it's about. And all of the homestead content will have the regular thumbnail, which is actually my front door. And there's always, every 10 weeks I change that, but it's always my front door, and it always has something seasonal in there. So, and that changes on the video 5, so 175. So next week there will be a new thumbnail. I'll give you a sneak preview of that. So when you see the thumbnails, you should be able to easily differentiate between the types of content. And if you want to consume one and not the other, that's perfectly fine. And I urge you, just watch what you want. Don't feel that you have to watch every video I produce. If it's something that you find offensive or find distasteful, then just ignore it and enjoy the content from this channel that you like. So if you like the homestead stuff, that will always be here. And if you like the conservative stuff, that will always be here. There is a huge crossover in my opinion, because there's self-determination, self-discipline, self-destiny, and all of that sort of stuff are pillars of both things that I do. Obviously it's my conservative, freedom-loving views that meant that I wanted to do this in the first place, that I wanted to be out here and be responsible for myself as best I can. Obviously I get a lot of help from a lot of wonderful people. Yeah, so just so you know, that's what's happening with the channel. But for this week, let's go see what else we've been up to. Hey guys, how you going? So on the homestead there are crops that I like, there are crops that I dislike, and then there are crops that I absolutely love, and this is one of my absolute favourite crops. I am a huge chilli fiend. I do get through a hell of a lot of chilies, and they're also one of the latest crops of the year, but as you can see they are starting to turn red now. These have got a very nice dark red. They're jalapenos, so they're not too hot. But next year I should be growing some habaneros, which are a lot hotter. This year's Bertgelicas didn't germinate, which used to be one of the hottest chilies in the world. But I did manage to germinate some round cherry chilies. Those are a little bit behind these, and these will continue to fruit now for the next month or so. And with all of the plants that I've got, I should get a very decent crop this year. I might actually not run out of chili powder, but these will be picked soon, and then they'll be sun-dried. And then once they're sun-dried, they'll go through the either the coffee grinder or the blender, turned into a powder, and then stored for usage. I will pickle some because I do like pickled jalapenos, especially on pizza. That's always a wonderful thing to do. But anyway, I just thought I'd share with you the chilies are coming in, and if anyone's interested, my favourite crop on the homestead. Hey guys, so we have the new chicks here. These were born just a day or two ago. They are doing fine. Still very wobbly, but they're out and about. They're in my hat at the moment. Yes, I clean it after they're done with the hat. But yeah, these guys will be in here for 3 to 4 weeks, then they'll go outside. The ones that were in here before, they are now outside. And this is the last lot of chicks that I will be hatching this year. Hey guys, so once the outside chicks get a little bit bigger, they go out here. And that's roughly every 3 weeks they come out here. So these were the ones that were inside. The new chicks hatched, so they're now outside, but as you can see I keep them in a separate pen so that they don't get picked on by the bigger chickens. Now these chickens, these black ones that you can see here and here, those are actually about 8 to 9 weeks old. As you can see, they do grow very quickly. This one, that one is now 6 weeks old. That's a little whitey. So yeah, there's a whole different step process for the chickens to come outside. First of all, it's incubator for a day or two, then it's brooder for 3 weeks, then it's outside in this covered enclosure for 3 weeks, and then once they've been out here for 3 weeks, then they get to experience the full freedom of their entire chicken pen, which is reasonably extensive. Hey guys, so if you remember, I was mocking the chickens' attempts at growing their own sunflowers. Well, they've actually done quite well. So yeah, even though they were planted late, they started late, even though they've been pecked half to death at the bottom, the sunflowers are flowering. And since they grew these ones, they will just get cut down, and they will get to have all of the seeds from these ones that they so diligently planted. Hey guys, so as you can see, the marrows this year have actually done okay. It's not the world's biggest marrow, and there are a few more. I think there's one just there, just out of sight behind that plant, and there are a few more around attached to these plants. But yeah, they've put on a decent size, decent weight. This one maybe a foot and a half long, probably about 10-15 centimeters across. So it is a decent sized marrow. They're not quite ready to pick yet. I'm assuming that with these I'll do the same thing as the pumpkins and wait for the stem, which is just at the top here, to start turning woody, and then once that happens the fruit's no longer getting fed, and that's the perfect time to harvest them. I think I've got 6 in total along this area, but there is a lot of new plant growth. I think this year's been so hot and so dry that these have actually been suffering quite a bit. And if we just turn around for a second, back in a sec, then you can see how badly this pumpkin's doing. As you can see, there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of vine, but there's no fruit whatsoever anywhere on this. There are little fruit that develop at the end, but they don't get enough water, so they die off. It did try to put out 3 pumpkins earlier, but those have all died off. It's just not getting enough water, and it's so far down here, watering it is a bit of a pain in the arse. So they're not very drought tolerant. But as we're going in later into the year, because they are slightly more cold hardy, these might actually live a bit longer than some of the other plants, and if they survive into the later part of the year, we might get some fruit around October, November time, so it might actually be a full harvest pumpkin. but we'll see what we get, and hopefully this year again I'll be carving a pumpkin for Halloween, but we'll see. Hopefully we'll just put our hands together and rain dance, I think. I will bring down some water and water this one, but I'm not holding out too much hope for it. But either way, the plant material itself rots very, very quickly, so it's absolutely fantastic stuff for compost, if nothing else. Well, yet another victim of this year's drought conditions. Or it's not really a drought, it's just very, very hot. These are Pinot Noir grapes, and as you can see, these are Pinot Noir raisins, but they're not all mature, and some are already dead. That's because the plant is sacrificing the older fruit in an attempt to ripen the newer fruit, which means they're not really reaching their full size. So I think this year's wine might have to be made from grapes that are located elsewhere on the property. These are the best grapes I have. They're usually the ones I use for winemaking. But I do have another Pinot Noir vine up near the front of my house, which is actually very close to the soak away for my sink. So that has been getting a lot more water, albeit contaminated water with soap and dishwashing soap and all that sort of stuff. But I don't think that's affected the plant at all. The grapes should be fine. But we'll see what this year's wine variety brings. They're not quite ready to harvest yet. These won't be harvested. I'll just cut them off and chuck them straight into the chickens so they can eat these. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you that this year's grapes not doing too well.